We're back.
3, 2,
We're back.
1.
You don't need to count down. We're already back. I already said it, Matt.
Action.
And welcome back to the what's the name of the podcast, Matt? It's been that long.
I believe we're called the Mellow Experiment
The
with
Mellow
Mellow
Experiment
Mike
with Mellow
and
Mike,
unnamed
and
co-host.
you can call me Groundhog Guy. Because we got a little special today. We got a little special. Am I right, Matt?
Groundhog guy. Why?
Because one of the greatest holidays of the year is upon us. In fact, today is Groundhog's Day Eve, because
You
tomorrow is
mean
Groundhog's Day, the greatest and most underrated holiday in the history of holidays.
I thought Easter was coming up?
Dude, do you like own a calendar? Bro, that's a couple months. That's a couple months away, bro. How could you skip Groundhog's Day? It's really magical. Everyone's always waking up. They're like calling each other like, I can't fucking believe it. It's Groundhog's Day. It's here. Is it gonna be cold or is it gonna be warm in 6 weeks?
Yeah, let's go. Let's sing our favorite rendition of the Groundhog's Day theme song.
All right, ready? Let's do it at the same time, okay? All right, ready? Three, two, one. Groundhog's Day. Groundhog's Day.
What you say?
Groundhog's Day.
That
Groundhog's
you
Day.
only wanted
Yow!
winter,
Yow!
because it is. What you
Whoa!
say?
Whoa!
That's it.
Say, that's what a great song. Sing it every year with my family. We all sit around the Groundhog's Day campfire together.
And open our Groundhog's Day presents.
What are you gonna get for Groundhog's Day this year, Matt?
I hope for a nice piping hot container of groundhog casserole.
Matt, that's pretty messed up. That's pretty messed up, but it's actually true. Because believe it or not,
Please explain.
because believe it or not, Groundhog's Day wasn't always about celebrating groundhogs.
Are you fucking serious?
Wow, man, you got some serious fashion. It's deeper than that. There's some real shit to this. It wasn't even called Groundhog's Day. It was called Groundhog Day. Believe it or not. And you know why?
Why?
Because we would ground the hog. That's right, because they're hogs from the ground, right? And we'd eat them. We'd eat the groundhogs. Hundreds of years ago, in Celtic Germany, there was a holiday called Candlemas, and everyone was like, "Wow, we need a reason to go indoors and eat things and be happier because it's cold outside." And so they were like, "Okay, let's celebrate this religious holiday and hang out with the fam." And then there was this legend where they were like, if it's sunny on Candlemas, it'll be there. That means more winter in the future. And if it was really cold on
That
Candlemas, there
makes
was going
sense,
to be
yeah.
an early spring.
That
But
checks out to me.
yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. But then the silly Germans, as the years went by, they were like, let's do something for the kids. They're like, you know what? You see these little critters out here? See that squirrel? You see that hedgehog? You see that badger
Yeah, I
over
do.
there? You see
I
that
see that
badger over there,
Badger
man?
Daddy. I see that Badger Daddy.
Yeah, you see that guy over there? If he's afraid of his shadow, that means more winter. Whoa! Oh! Ah! And the kids were like, yo, this shit goes fucking hard. And then, like, hundreds of years go by, right? Till 1886, there was this guy named Clymer Frias. What a fucking name, Clymer. Maybe
Climber.
if I ever have a kid, I'll name him Clymer.
Climber? I hardly know her.
Uh, uh, bro,
Ah,
Matt, you're so funny, dude.
thank you, thank you.
But yeah, he was a news editor in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. And he was like, there's a lot of German heritage in this town. And there's a lot of people that still celebrate Candlemas. Because believe it or not, they just kept celebrating it. Because they were like, you know what? Europeans are right. They were like, let's just make holidays for the sake of just doing something, And I'm okay with that. What do you think about that, Matt?
Yeah, what other shit do they have to do in 1887? Nothing.
Send their children to go work in the coal mines.
That was the hot thing to do that nowadays. Yeah,
Die of malaria. Um,
eat TV dinners in from the microwave. Wait, no, that was much later. Yeah.
they'd They'd piss in the piss trough and they'd bathe in it later. You know,
The piss pot
the piss pot. You know,
right
that's why they
next to the
always
bed.
say don't throw the piss out with the baby, right?
I
That's
always
how that's how
confuse
the
my
saying is.
baby pot
Yeah,
with
I'm getting
the
off
piss
track.
pot.
Okay, I'm getting off track. But basically, there was a groundhog club that was based there because all these dudes are like, oh fuck, yo, I totally want to just like round up these hogs of the ground and I want to eat them. And like they hunted them and they trapped them and they were like, you know, groundhogs, they got a lot of nutrients and you know they might be kind of tough to eat. You know, they may be a little tougher meat, but they're delicious and we should be eating them. They're good. So then Clymer was like, you know what? I'm gonna publish this in a newspaper. Everyone come down to the community center. We're having a groundhog day. We're gonna bring in all the groundhog
Hmm.
and we're gonna eat them up. And they were like you said, they had like groundhog casserole. They had minced groundhog. They had roasted groundhog. You know, they had the groundhog. I'm not even crapping about this one. The groundhog salad. You know,
Groundhog toast, groundhog cake.
groundhog, groundhog the TV show, groundhog the movie. I'm getting to that though. That comes later.
But talk to me about that beverage though. What were they
Yeah,
sipping on? What were they washing it down with?
you know, that's the best part of all because the most popular thing at the event was the groundhog punch, which they made out of the blood and fluids of the groundhog. They just were like, yo, let's just go all in on the groundhog theme thing. Like, even the drinks are groundhog. So you're sipping groundhog, you're like, you know, I taste a little ground in there. You know, I taste a little hog in that. you know?
That
Would you,
sounds demonic.
you know, why aren't the kids these days getting crunk off the groundhog punch, you know?
Groundhog
Yeah.
punch. I got a keg of groundhog punch.
Yo, keg stand, bro. Groundhog, groundhog. This could be what Groundhog's Day really should have been, you know. But no. Instead, they were like, you know, what? Fuck this. We're not doing this anymore. We're scaring the kids. We're scaring them. So the following year in
Our
1887,
teeth are stained with blood of the groundhog punch. It's all red, and our breath smells like groundhog fluid.
yeah, they didn't like it. They didn't like it. So the following year, they introduced their mascot, which they trapped. The Groundhog Club, they trapped him and they named him Punxsutawney Phil. And then they were like, well, if he's afraid of his shadow, you know, we're gonna get 6 more weeks of winter, and if he's chumming around, you know, then we'll get an early spring, you know. Um,
That is how the saying goes.
yep. But they presented this at the very ceremonial Gobbler's Knob. That's right, Gobbler's Knob. It hasn't
How was
changed.
that?
They bring up Punxsutawney Phil out of his hole on Gobbler's Knob. He's
What's he
really
gobbling on?
he's he ain't gobbling on that knob, I'll tell you that, you know. He's
Oh,
and we're not gobbling on those groundhogs, but you know, they present Phil and he's like, "Yeah, what's going on?" And then he does this thing for the one day and then he goes home, you know. But the question is, where is his home at? Where does he live?
in all of our hearts.
I think they keep him in a basement, you know, on an ivy connected to the groundhog punch. Because the thing is he's been alive for 136 years. Because the people that claim that have been doing this from the Groundhog Club, they're called the Inner Circle, and they're a bunch of dudes that dress up in top hats, and they're kind of scary looking. You know what I'm talking about, Matt?
That kind of look like Ebenezer Scrooge
Mm-hmm.
kind of vibe, and they claim that Punxsutawney Phil speaks to them in Groundhogese, and they can understand.
Yeah, they're
They're the
kind of
sole
furries
interpreters.
too. Yeah, but I'm
Who
telling
knows
you,
what goes on?
it's a Punxsutawney conspiracy because all these guys they're rounding up in their circle and they're like they're keeping this groundhog alive forever, like he's immortal. Like I don't know how they're doing it, but they're doing it somehow. Either that or they've gone through 27.2 groundhogs in the history of the time because
That's
groundhogs unfortunately only live for 5 years on average. So
the math checks out. But although Punxsutawney may be immortal, he's not all knowing. He's not omniscient, omnipotent. All those
Omniscient.
omnis,
Irish murder.
omniscient shit. And because I don't know if you know this, but Punxsutawney Phil's only right roughly 39% of the time.
Seriously?
And the information going back all the way to 1887. Of course, some years got lost due to the sands of time. But
Like the 1938, they got rid of that one because you know why, right?
was it because Phil assassinated the Archduke Ferdinand?
No, no, Matt, that was back in what, 1914?
Oh, yeah.
No, 1938. This was the one where Punxsutawney Phil got kidnapped by the Nazis and he was held for ransom during the Berlin Olympic Games. And so they needed Jesse Owens to break the record for on the track and field. And they were like, "No, you can't do that because we got Phil." So
It was truly a story that doesn't get told as much as it ought to.
no, it's in the textbooks. All the American history textbooks, but they just never talk about it. Never talk about it.
Damn shame.
Yeah. But anyway,
But yeah, only 39% of the time you're better off flipping a coin.
Yeah. What about there any other groundhogs? Like this is a global phenomenon, by the way. Like people in Japan, they got the Groundhog Day anime. You got people you got people in Germany. They're like, they're like, fuck Candlemas, it's Groundhog's Day now, baby. And everyone in the United States is marking that on the February 2nd every year. You see it, you wake up, you're like, oh, it's Groundhog's Day. You see the lady on the news, he's like, you won't fucking believe it. You won't believe it. It's Groundhog's Day. You won't believe what Phil did. And you just see just a little critter like crawling around for a couple minutes, and then he goes back home. But it's one of the greatest holidays of all time, But
it should be more of a drinking holiday.
It should be
more fun that way too.
You got to do a keg stand at the Groundhog Punch barrel, bro.
No, I think we should
says 6 weeks of winter.
We should just go out and maybe bars and stuff should start having Groundhog's Day specials where they do their own interpretation of the Groundhog's Day punch.
Yeah, we need to bring it back. Bring back the Groundhog Punch. Bring it back. But I gotta ask, Matt, why has this holiday become so popular? What was the cause?
I think that has to do with Groundhog's Day parenthesis 1993 close parenthesis with Bill Murray. Is that right?
You are correct.
Can you talk to me a little bit about that, Alec?
No, why don't you talk to me a little about it, Matt? I've been saying all this fucking shit. I did all this research on groundhogs. I need you to say something,
Well, basically it has to do with Bill Murray reliving the same day over and over again until he gets to the girl or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Forget exactly what I think he was like a bad guy, and then the spirit of Groundhog's Day made him see that he should stop killing groundhogs and live a more peaceful life or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. But became a global phenomenon. And, the attendance at the usual Groundhog's Day celebration in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania was a handful of people at best. But after that, millions of people showed up.
All right.
I mean, millions.
All right, that's a bit of an exaggeration.
And the police couldn't even stop them. They were rioting. They were looting in the name of Phil.
They started looting. It's all a fucking conspiracy, man. It's all based in Punxsutawney. They got the inner circle guys, they're all listening to the groundhog and he's controlling the weather. You won't fucking believe it, man. You won't believe it, man. We're controlled by a groundhog oligarchy. They keep him immortal forever. And we just have to we have to beckon to his call every year.
And he can't even do it correctly half the time. I'd forgive him if he actually gave a correct interpretation of future weather patterns, but it's sadly not. So
is it legal to elect a new groundhog? Who's the mayor of Punxsutawney, do you know?
It's really funny you mentioned that, Alec, because I do happen to know who the mayor of Punxsutawney is. I'm just that informed of current politics, local politics.
In
Well, his name
Punxsutawney,
is
Pennsylvania.
Richard Alexander. Has been mayor since 2014.
Hmm.
He's
He's
just
been mayor for 9 years straight.
he's beloved by Puxatawny and the inner circle as well. So
This is
they
actually
it's
like a
truly
deep.
it's a puppet government.
It's, we're living in a deep state conspiracy run by a groundhog. They just won't let him die. They won't let him because he's too powerful. He's basically a demigod. He controls the weather and he controls our minds.
Whoa, Alec! Shouldn't you say
Are you gonna say it?
a demi hog?
There you go. There you go. Demi hog. You
I
know.
guess
Because
punchline must have
I
cut
get it,
out.
I get it. It's funny because they're hogs from the ground, and then we created Groundhog Day because we ground the hog, and then we ate them and drank them, and now it's Groundhog's Day because we celebrate the funny guy who's not
That
actually funny. You know,
that has a lot of similarities with Jesus's Last Supper.
you're
The
not
way that
wrong.
you said that.
Yeah, that parallel, honestly. Well, yeah, because we ate Jesus, didn't we? He was like,
You
"Yo, here's
drank
my
him.
body." Oh my god, that I never even fucking realized this. Holy shit, it's biblical,
It's communion. It's communion that
and
we
that's
eat
what
and
ties it all
celebrate.
back together to religion, the Candlemas, the true origins. We got to bring it back to the fam. You're right. We need this is a call to our audience. You know, to all 4 people that are listening to this. We gotta bring Groundhog's Day back to what it used to be. Back in the
Hmm
1886. When you have to chop your leg off when you stubbed your toe, you have to
Yeah,
amputate that shit. We're living in a
just
different we're living in a different time, but it doesn't mean that we have to forget
yeah.
about our
Yeah.
heritage.
Put the phone down. All right, TikTok and wait. It's time
Put
to
the
be with
gram
loved ones.
away. Put the gram away. Put the
Time to be with loved ones on this most special of days.
Yep. Yep.
Put the phone down. Unplug after you finish listening to this episode,
Absolutely.
and
The Groundhog's Day special.
just thank Phil
You know.
for letting you be alive.
for for enabling us to survive, for allowing the seasons to change naturally every year. Even but why would he lie to us? If he's wrong all the time, why would he lie?
No, can't understand his ways.
We may never
But
know.
just crack
But the
open a
inner
nice
we
can
you know
of punch.
maybe someday I'll be powerful enough to become part of that inner circle.
Yeah, if you put in that work, anything's possible.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, I think this concludes the second Groundhog's Day episode.
The
Uh,
second. All right. Yep. Because it's February 2nd, guys. It's a big deal. It's tomorrow. I
yes,
can't wait. All right. You know what, Matt? Matt, closing statements. What do you think he's gonna say? What do you think Phil's gonna say? What do you think
yep.
And let me say
Uh,
his full title, by the way. It's not just Punxsutawney Phil. It's Punxsutawney Phil, seer of seers, sage of sages, prognosticator of prognosticators, and weather prophet extraordinary.
sounds like a WWE intro. Um,
Let's get ready to rumble.
I got I
Dwayne
got
Johnson.
I got big money on no shadow tomorrow. No
No
shadow.
shadow. Wow, that's
Big money
bold.
on it.
You think that he's gonna be rambling around a little bit? He's gonna be like, you know,
And not
he's
gonna
making
see his
groundhog
head.
noises.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
I
thinking,
think
I'm thinking the opposite. I'm thinking he's gonna be like, "Yo, it's cold. I'm going back to sleep.
going back to
Yo,
Gobbler's Knob.
I'm going back to Gobbler's Knob, dog."
Yeah, I think we'll see who's right then.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm thinking me, because I'm always right. So, you know.
I'm checking DraftKings right now to see if you can actually bet on.
Could you imagine?
You cannot, unfortunately,
That is
at
so
least on this
sad.
website.
This is why we need to raise awareness. Because if you can bet on something as simple as like uh like the coin flip for the Super Bowl,
What
which is
color
coming up.
Gatorade it is?
What color Gatorade? I'm pretty sure that's one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Ridiculous. And there's no groundhog bet. Sad.
It needs to change.
Well, it's just because we live in an oligarchy. So, controlled by big groundhog. It's just a really big groundhog. So it's basically like a badger or a wombat.
Mhm.
Just kind of sitting there.
So it's a call to action. Write letters to your local government officials,
Yes.
and we gotta break this up.
We got to break up this we gotta go through the legal system to get a better groundhog that's more correct. That won't lie to us.
We gotta let Phil go off to the great groundhog beyond.
we
He's
gotta
been
get,
around
we
too
gotta
long.
let him rest. He's he's been alive for too long.
It's not
He's he,
meant.
he's the equivalent of 27 different groundhogs. You know,
He's the age is wearing on him. He's not as accurate as he once was. It's
he's
yeah.
not. He's not. Okay.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
hope you guys get all your Groundhog's Day gifts that
Yes.
you want,
Hope you enjoy the
and
groundhog punch.
just yeah,
you know. Let's
blessed
sing the
day.
let's sing the groundhog theme one more time, okay?
Yeah.
All right, ready? All right, 3, 2, 1. Groundhog,
I never thought it
groundhog,
would be
be
so
so
simple,
simple,
but
but I found a
found a
way. I
way,
found a
found a
way.
way.
If
If
you
you
see your
want.
shadow,
Oh shit, he
it's
saw his
gonna
shadow.
snow. It's gonna take 6 weeks. I ran out of shit.
Of
I ran
course.
out of ideas.
Yep.
Happy Groundhog Day. Happy Candlemas.
To all
Merry
those that
Hanukkah.
celebrate.
Yeah.
See you next time.